Bonnie Chronicles. I am joined once again by Jocelyn Short.
Yep.
She is a graphic artist, conceptual artist, and illustrator, and she is the creator of the Bearer series, which we're waiting on. She's also been doing some concept art for my Bonnie Chronicles series. And we are both joined by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey everybody.
He is another graphic artist and illustrator. He illustrated the Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as the Umbani Chronicles comics. He's done some cover art for me as well. He is the creator of Eve of Insurrection, and he also has a current project called Growing in the Garden. He's getting ready to launch.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. We're excited to see where that goes. Today, we are talking Ahsoka. So it's a new Star Wars series out there, Ahsoka, which I've enjoyed so far. They've released 2 episodes. We're only going to be talking the first one, Master and Apprentice, today because they're going to spoon feed us. If I feel like if we discuss both of these right now, and then they spoon feed us episodes one at a time, they're not going to be dropping doubles each.
No, we're not. We're not. I know. It was just how this episode was just nice, and I
Yeah.
was like, I want more.
I like it so far. There's mainly one thing that really annoyed me watching these first couple episodes. Mainly the first episode
Okay.
really annoyed me in a small way. It makes me wonder. It's back to Star Wars, getting some more Star Wars, but it's almost like is there too much of a good thing because of the member berries? This becomes more and more, I think, an esoteric experience if you haven't fully imbibed in all of the media and callbacks, Easter eggs, things that are just there's so many other shows, books, and things just are called back to in this show. Like if you haven't watched or read everything, there's a lot of things that are going to be going way over your head. I don't know if you guys watched it alone, if you watched it with someone else who maybe wasn't as into Star Wars as you are, and you start doing the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen because you recognize something, and they're looking at
What?
yeah. You're like, it's the thing, it's the thing. Like you don't even remember what that thing is,
Yep.
the exact name, but you get excited because you see something, you see an Easter egg, you get some of these member berries, and whoever you're watching with kind of side eyes you. And it's like, okay, that looks cool, but I don't see why you're as excited. And this, I think, has the danger of doing that a little too much because of so many things. Like if you haven't watched Clone Wars, and actually Ahsoka, I believe, was introduced in this Clone Wars, the film,
Yeah. Yep.
before the
Yep.
series was out. They had the Clone Wars film where she's introduced as Anakin's Padawan, where he's unwilling, seemingly unwilling to take on a Padawan and have a really weird relationship. And just things kind of sprout out from there. You got the threat of Thrawn, which we saw them drop the seed. I think in was it the second season of The Mandalorian where Ahsoka popped up and has the duel with.
I think so. Yeah, that would have been the second season. We got how many? We got 3 seasons of Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the second season. We got Ahsoka's first time.
So yeah, they're dropping Thrawn, more Thrawn hints, of course. So Thrawn's coming back, and we have Morgan Elsbeth, which we saw in The Mandalorian. We have the callbacks to Rebels animated show. We have callbacks to Clone Wars, the films, and even things I think you probably have recognized this outside of the Star Wars universe, because in the beginning of this, it feels like Ahsoka is doing her best Laura Croft imitation. She's doing some tomb raiding, and at the same
solving
time,
puzzles.
yeah, and at the same time, there's a callback to Rebels where she does the spoiler alert. If you guys haven't watched, she does the lightsaber in the ground spinny thing that she does. Her and Rex, I believe, escape using this same move when the clone troopers are bearing down on them. And then we have the fight with the HK assassin droids that come after that. We saw that Morgan Elspeth. Like, what do you guys think about this opening scene?
Jocelyn, what is your before I go? Jocelyn, what's your level of like Star Wars? I
Where
didn't read the
am I
book.
in
I
the
just
landscape
what you
of
say?
war? Where am I in the landscape of
Yes, sure, yes. We might be on the same level, but I want to know where you're at.
I feel like I am not anywhere close to where y'all are in regards to
Oh,
all of the Star Wars content you consume. Like Rod, the type of person you were describing, who will just like I could tell when the references like when they were happening, and I was just looking at them, and I was just like, wow. I can't wait to figure out what that's about. I can't wait to understand.
I don't even know. I don't even know. So Jocelyn, you go first. I think you have a more valuable perspective to show because you're kind of the novice in this, or the apprentice, as you will, Padawan. So it's like, what did you think of the show? Like, what did you think of like what you saw?
Well, maybe the opener. Discuss the
Or
opener.
just the opening. We'll start there.
Break,
Just
break that down.
Well, the opener, first things first, Rosario Dawson is so incredibly gorgeous. Just first things first. But she looks so cool. Just and then that spin move, I was like, well, obviously that's iconic. Like by itself, without even knowing the context, it was iconic, and I was like, well, that's just really cool. Okay.
I watched it 5 times. I had to like deconstruct it from an animation perspective. It's like, why didn't she spin all the way around? It was like, no, she like passed the force around it and
She
caught
did,
it,
and
and
then
it
turned back
zooped.
around.
I was like, she didn't even have to do a full 360 on that. She let the force do it for her.
Yeah, and I was just like, that is just so cool. But to me, I was like, okay, from someone who has no context really, or just not all of the context, I was like, all right, obviously she's super skilled, but like skilled in a very specific way. So like she's been trained. So she's not new to this, she's true to this. So that's what I got just off of that. And then the droids were coming in trying to attack her, and she's calm, cool, collected, while she's strategizing as they're coming in, and then she dips down, and then she does the cutting of the ground, make them fall through. And
I just thought she was Batman.
yeah, literally. And then she came back up, she did a flippy dip and
Like,
said,
what?
meow.
Liberty dips.
Yep.
What you do? What was that sound?
Liberty. Oh shit! We'll do it again. No, Rod, don't do it.
She came back up out the ground, did a flippy dip into your boy. It said meow meow. Okay.
Meow 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 meow. I like that.
That's what they sound meow. Okay. It's always like, wow, okay, so great. And then, she had your boy on the phone, was like, all right, it's time to come get me.
Come pick me up. Come pick
Yep.
me up, because they got bombs in their chest.
Yep.
Self
She said,
protocol. I'm
I'm
like,
ready to go.
I didn't think the bombs was gonna be that strong, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh, they're not gonna be that.
I don't think it was. That black dust that you see that's all over the ground, I think, was a memorial to an old Sith and Jedi battle where everybody was basically dusted in like some crazy force bomb. So it's kind of like a powder keg of almost like dark side gunpowder, but the essence of them. Because if you go through some of the comics and stuff, there's myths about some of the Sith going to ingest this dust to try and take in the essence of the Sith ancestors and all the dark side energy that's there.
Wow.
It's on top of we hear later that this is actually a temple built by the Night Sisters.
Yep. Dathomir was it? The planet Dathomir.
The Dathomir. It had. I like this episode because it had the fight scenes in it. It wasn't, the pacing was good for me. You have this initial battle with Ahsoka and the HK assassin droids when she picks up the map.
Don't forget about our Jedis.
No. I was getting to that's why I didn't want to. And then we have Balin Skull and Shin Hati who go and rescue Morgan Elspeth from her prison ship, and then we have the final duel at the end, which I'll wait to discuss. But there were a lot of callbacks. We can move on. Like, do you want to say anything more about the battle with the HK droids?
Yeah. My favorite part was when homie said we need to get this map, us, and they all came out and was like us, and I was like, I only heard 3 us's. Is there 4, 5 of y'all? And I'm like, oh, I wasn't even know there was 5 of y'all. Okay, cool. She gonna handle all y'all. But for me, I loved, so the opening felt like this is what I love. This is what I'm loving about this show already, because as I recall, George Lucas, when he first made Star Wars, it was supposed to reference Japanese samurai films and culture.
Yeah.
And this started off feeling like a samurai film. And then, of course, the composition, the shots, it's like, we got a standoff, y'all. And I was just like responding to that stuff. And I'm like, this is beautiful. This is Star Wars. Like, this is what we need. We need samurai duels. We need lightsaber samurai duels, whatever. That's all
And
that's
then
all I want.
the hood, when the hood came off, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The first HK droid was weird because it was like he was playing some secret game of red light, green light, where he felt like because he was super still.
Oh yeah, that was
I
weird.
like that.
That was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Like
I like that.
I've never seen a robot that still in a movie ever in my life. And the cape's moving. I'm like, is something wrong with him? And I was like, what's?
I liked it. I
Well,
thought
he was a statue.
down real hard.
Yeah, he was doing his best Michael Jackson smooth criminal lean right there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't gonna move no further. Like if you don't move, I ain't gonna move.
It's like I got you. What you gonna do?
So that was interesting, and she took them all down with ease. It seemed like, but again, I think it's a callback to the Clone Wars and Rebels, where you see Clone Wars more so when you see Anakin trained her to fight multiple opponents at once. I don't know if you remember the scene where he had the clone troopers stunning her over and over again in like a huge group in a circle, and she would have to fight like multiple people at one time. Like, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna take one. We finna jump you over here. So she's used to fighting multiple people.
Work them out, stomp them out. So it was like, whoa, what y'all doing?
Yeah, she kept getting stunned and falling out, and she was doing her thing. And then, we come against Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, which are these new, I'm not sure what to call them because they are not Jedi, but Baylan Skoll.
Are they gray? Would they be considered gray? Like, what did they call it once they've like literally like detached
I guess they're just dark Jedi.
They're dark.
They're not. They
don't
seem to be. They're not learned in the ways of the Sith, but they're still clinging to some. Because if you see, Shin Hati has a Padawan braid.
I missed that one.
She's got a braid, and she's referring to Baylan Skoll. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. She refers to him as master, and that's her. She's the apprentice. They of course go and they have an old Clone Wars Jedi ship that allows them. And he has a passcode. That's the other thing. I think
that joint was raggedy. I knew something was up when he pulled up.
This to me was a callback to the old Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. A riff on how Luke gets in because he's got an old Imperial code. The code pass, it's old, but it checks out. And they let him through. So it's kind of the same thing. They've got an old Jedi craft, and send over your identification code, and they send it over like they're saying they're Jedi. And the captain doesn't believe it. Him and the security team get worked immediately.
I'm going to call his bluff. I'm like, you're going to die. I'm like, you're too excited to go down there and talk to this guy.
Yeah, and we see that they have orange lightsabers, not red. Orange, so there's a tell in there. We see it's a callback to Jedi Fallen Order because we see Baylan basically hacked the scomp link on the door to the jail cell, just like the droid in. Yeah,
that was fire. When he did that, I was like, oh, okay. See what y'all doing.
It was also a callback to Rogue One when you see the hallway scene between Vader.
Yes, I was like, yo, why is Homeboy trying to be Vader right now? I said that immediately when I saw it. I'm like, yo, they got this man being Vader. Like, come on now.
So, I had Rogue One callbacks. We're getting that's what I'm saying, but if you're not knee deep in the streets like that, I'm wondering if some people, if this takes away from the enjoyment of it when you don't understand like 60% of what's going on.
Jocelyn, your thoughts on that?
To me, it just seemed like, now that you guys are talking about it, it's like, okay, well, these people are clearly already established, but like I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, I can't wait to learn more about these people. But
that's so good though. I think there's nothing wrong with like doing telling the story in the way they're telling it, where it's like a lot of Easter eggs and references. And if you didn't watch the show, it's like it's not like it's completely ostracizing new audiences because new audiences are enjoying it. It's still a good story at the core of it. It's still a very good story, and it's like good action, pacing, etc.
Yeah, just like without knowing every bit of context, my experience of it, like it just it's got solid frameworks of like a good story. Um, there's some aspects of it that aren't necessarily, original storytelling. Like it's not a story I haven't necessarily seen before, but it's interesting because of these characters and obviously what they mean to the fans. But the characters themselves are interesting without knowing anything about them. So
Yeah.
That's good.
I just think sometimes it leans too much on the member berries that they're leaving for everybody. And hopefully, as we go along, we do get enough that's fresh and new that we continue enjoying what's going on. Then we go to Lothal, where they're having the ceremony commending the rebel heroes, because this is right after the Empire has been defeated. In the timeline, we see a mural.
From Rebels.
Yeah, from Rebels.
Exactly,
and a lot of this is a one-to-one translation.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
From the Rebels and Clone Wars shows, and some of it are reprisals of those scenes with different characters in those spots. It's an interesting mix they have going here. And we see Sabine doesn't want to. We get Sabine Wren, that doesn't want to be a part of the ceremony. I'm assuming because Ezra's not there to enjoy the ceremony, so she doesn't feel it's right that she goes. So she's being a brat, and she's the main character that kind of annoys me in this show because I feel like with all the things that she's went through by now, that she should have matured enough.
Of course. Why are you acting like this? You've seen so much struggle. You fought so many people. Why are you acting like this? Why are you acting like you 12?
I mean, it's not
running off.
It's just the attitude of I do what the hell I want, no matter what type of thing. And you can see it that she does it to not just one authority figure, but another authority figure later on in the show. And the security team tries to stop her. She goes off and does what she wants to, of course. And then later we have her and Ahsoka meeting up, and then we find out that Ahsoka had been training Sabine as a Padawan, which is weird.
Why is that weird?
Because it's the first time of us hearing about this, and we know that she trained with Kanan, in wielding the Darksaber before she handed over
that was a Rebel
time in Rebels. Okay, so but I've never seen any mention of her and Ahsoka having this master apprentice
off screen, buddy.
That's
to leave you with more questions.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's new information for y'all.
Because
when I saw it, I was like, oh, this seems like another thing that pre-existed, and like in a previous film or something, and it's showing back up here, and it felt like a moment for like fans to be like, oh, how man up, how's it gonna go down between these two?
No, this is a weird. It's almost like an inside joke type of thing between Sabine and Ahsoka, where even Hera Syndulla, the general, the Twi'lek that from Rebels, doesn't seem to know exactly what went down between them. She just knows something went down, so she's kind of with us. She annoyed me too.
What, Hera?
Yeah, episode 2, not this. We'll talk about that later. But she annoyed me.
we'll talk about that later. Okay,
yeah.
All right. I got a lot to watch. I got something to watch now.
Yeah, Hera seems to not know. Like you said, it was off. Like you said, Jordan, it was off screen. We don't know what this.
That off screen stuff, but they can give us the answers later.
Yeah, they part ways, so we kind of get to peel back the onion at the same time that Hera is, as we're getting more and more information about why they fell out and why their relationship is kind of so testy. She shows her the map. Of course, she's trying to entice Sabine to work on, because she can't get it open. She's got the map, but it's locked. They can't figure out what the map is to. Sabine, for whatever reason, is the only one that can help them, or one of the best people around that they know of that can help them unlock this map, which I found weird too.
Why? Because you're an artist? What do you mean?
No, because
how's that weird? It was just mad convenient for the story.
Bro, you saw Ahsoka figure out an ancient map in this temple built by the Night Sisters, and she could close her eyes and feel on the column and figure out which way to twist things.
You couldn't figure that out.
But then once you got this orb, it's circular Rubik's cube that you obviously can't figure out. You got to hand this off to someone else.
But Rod, what if that was all a ploy to get Sabine in? You have to have a call. You have to have what is it called? I said call to arms.
And that's what makes it. It's
Call
a
to action.
That call to action. Thank you very much. Call to
it's a
action.
plot mechanism. We've got the MacGuffin in the map.
We got the MacGuffin.
And now we've got this reasoning for stringing Sabine in. And then Sabine just acting like a total jerk to me. She tells her not to take the map.
She said, "Well, I don't want to do it here. I don't like it."
I got mad watching it the second time because it's like she lied to her face. She like, you playing in my face right now. She goes, "Don't take it." And she's like, "Okay."
It doesn't feel good in here. The vibes aren't right. I want to go somewhere else and do this.
And then that is when I started acting black because I was
so then what happened?
Yelling at the screen when she was about to get her ass whooped. I would have been in the theater going, "That's right. That's what you get because you should have listened." Now you by yourself getting the brakes beat off you because
I'm the whole true. I mean, you're right. Like whole time I was watching that scene, I was just like, now look, dead.
She was and she was washed too. I was like, when she grabbed that lightsaber, I was like, oh, she got a lightsaber. They started fighting. I was like, you looking a little washed, Sabine, but it also made sense because she's hard-headed and doesn't probably want to be a Jedi. And I was like, all right, this is what y'all doing, okay?
Look at you, dead, because the vibes wasn't right.
And when Shin Hati, when she gets to Lothal, it was a callback for me to Darth Maul, but because you see the probe.
Oh, the probe droid.
The only thing she didn't do was hop on a speeder bike after.
She needed that speeder bike.
Yeah,
that did remind me.
But it seemed like Darth Maul when he was hunting Anakin and them down.
Oh, Annie
on Tatooine. Yes, I was like, oh, this is a cool little callback. Except her droid, her probe droid was gold and not black.
Mm-hmm.
But it chirped in the same manner that Darth Maul's did, and then she knew exactly where to go. The HK droid showed up first, and that weird cat thing gave
cat with chicken legs. I don't know. I don't like that thing. I'm looking at my cat like, do you know what he's saying to you right now? This don't even look right. He ain't a cat. It's a cat chicken. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Then she got worked out.
I mean, she had a little cool move where she took the block and then she like blocked it and kind of like fell back and held herself up.
Went back in the reverse plank with one hand.
I was like, that was kind of cool. And then the fight continued and she was washed. It was not good.
Yeah, you can tell that Shin Hati doesn't trust Morgan Elspeth. She's like, why are we listening to this person? She's a witch, but you can tell like every time I'm like, okay, you must be the apprentice on the other side that's going to buck the system, and you not at some point I'm assuming you're not going to listen, and that's going to be the downfall of both y'all because he's going to look, take whatever this is and go here, and she's like, I don't think that's the wisest move. It's going to be her turn to get work, and I'll be like, see, that's what you get.
You should have listened.
Both of them out here talking about something. You're not my dad. You're not my dad. This was gonna kill him.
So great. It was so great.
I mean, I like this episode. Like I said, the pacing was good. The action, there was enough action infused in there along with the world building. Some people, it's like there needs to be a balance. Don't over world build and give me no action. So I'm falling asleep because all these people just talking a bunch of words and stuff that I don't understand. I don't care. I need somebody to get whooped up, and they gave me that a few times in here. With the rescue scene, with the initial duel between the HK droids and Ahsoka, and then at the end of this episode ended off really well with the duel between Shin Hati and Sabine Wren. And even though she gets stabbed, you knew she wasn't going to die. I'm like, well, this would be the shortest series ever. Well, Sabine's gone, but you know she still lives.
I mean, I appreciate that. Like, she kept going. I was like, see, that's a Mandalorian right there. She every time I feel like a Jedi gets stabbed, they'd be like, oh, and then fall over, and that's it. It's like slow fall. But she actually kept swinging.
Yeah, somewhere right now, Qui-Gon Jinn is mad as hell. Like, why didn't y'all have this technology to bring me back?
You could have brought me back.
It took one for me, and I was gone, and I'm like, man, yeah, she got whooped up on, and I was like, this is crazy. And then Shin leaves just as Ahsoka's about to get her, because I guess she didn't want none with Ahsoka. But we're gonna get it eventually. I think we're probably gonna get a duel with all four of them. I'm hoping.
That would be great. I think I need to see that. Yeah.
We've seen what they we get to see for the first time the live action Ezra through hologram.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got to see him.
Yeah.
So wait, has no one seen him before?
Not in live action.
No, that was the first time.
Oh,
I mean, it's the first time we saw we've seen Sabine, Hera, and Ezra in live action.
Yeah.
okay.
And Zeb was in the trailer, so.
So was Ahsoka present in like an animated Star Wars series prior?
Yeah, the one he just showed.
The one that I showed you.
I didn't even. The funny part is I watched the TV series.
Yeah, this was the movie, and then there was the TV series that has like 3 or 4 seasons, and then she's also in Rebels.
Oh my
So like I said, when they call her Fulcrum, that was her call sign.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, Fulcrum. I like that. When I heard Fulcrum, I was like, hey.
Wow, I'm behind.
Well, it's okay. It takes a lot of work. Shout out to my friend Mikanaya Arfane. She told me to literally a year ago. She was like, "Hey, you need to watch. You need to watch Rebels and Clone Wars." I'm like, "What?" I mean, I saw the 2D animated version. I'm like, I guess it's a lot to watch. And I actually sat through and watched like the 3D CGI animated Clone Wars, and then I got to Rebels. And literally this morning, I was finishing up Rebels because I like took a break, and I was like, and I was able to kind of catch like that painting and all these different things. So it was kind of
I almost thought it was going to be
take
a
your time
to the father, sister, and brother mural that we see in Rebels that ends up being the dark and light sides and the balance between the embodiments, which I think Ahsoka, when she actually gets killed, they basically revive her with the spirit of the sister. In the animated shows. So when you see the statues and the murals with them holding the little orbs, it was kind of a callback to that mural that they find in that temple.
Yep.
I like to see where they're going with this. Episode 2 is good. We'll discuss that next week. I only saw Ray Stevenson listed in 2 episodes. I'm wondering, but I don't know.
When did they film this? Because didn't Ray Stevenson pass
that's what I'm wondering.
Ago? Not a minute, but it feels like it's been like a year or two. It feels like it's been a while.
He passed this year.
It was this year. Okay.
I think so,
feels like it's been a long time.
I think, matter of fact, it was right after they had finished filming the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Unless they had already killed the character off, we don't know. We find out that Baylan Skoll was actually one of the Jedi that disappeared in the Clone Wars because Huyang knows like every lightsaber, and they had digitally did a search for the lightsaber hilts, and he's like, in over 500 years, I've only known one student that built a lightsaber such as this. So he's able to identify him by his lightsaber hilt. And he seems to be apprehensive about wanting to kill Ahsoka too. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, this is a good episode, a good start to the series. I hope they don't drop the ball, because that's pretty much what's been happening lately. I don't know if you guys have felt the same, but a lot of these Star Wars shows start off strong and then kind of will fizzle out after a while.
This is not Marvel. What are you talking about, Rod? That's a Marvel thing.
Book of Boba Fett.
Well, that was just one. well, that was just one. Literally, the funny part is, I feel like all the Star Wars properties, like they have a higher success rate, a way higher success rate than like Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. Like literally, the Book of Boba Fett is like the worst thing to me, and everything else is either an 8 or 9. Kenobi was good. I enjoyed Kenobi for what it was.
I enjoyed Kenobi, and I don't know about it being an 8 though.
We can't give it an 8?
No.
7.5.
Maybe. That's being nice.
Still not as bad as most of the stuff we've seen from Marvel TV shows. Still better at the end of the day. Still giving us something.
Yeah.
So.
You got any other thoughts, Jocelyn?
Young Padawan, what do you think?
I thought it was cool. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't understand. I know that in the beginning of the show, they give you the rundown of what is happening, and
Yeah.
then the first scene happened, and I was watching it, and I was like, man, I don't know who
Who Morgan? Who is
so,
Morgan? Oh, that's Morgan.
yeah, I was just like, who are these people? And I was like, okay, all right, I think I have to wait to care a little bit more about these people. And I'm like, all right, cool, fine. But whenever the people from the first scene showed up, I was just confused. Not because I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I just was like, I'm like, even though the show told me why I should care about them, I don't know why I should care about them yet. So we'll see. I think I'm waiting to have an investment on them folk. I like Ahsoka. I felt like the apprentice, the one who was being stubborn,
Sabine.
yeah, Sabine. I felt like her character archetype was very much that archetype. It was very much that, and so I was just kind of like, she felt kind of stereotypical to me. So
Kind of emo and rebellious for no reason.
yeah, and so I was like, all right, well, we'll see if something else is going to be, if she brings something unique to this archetype per se, or maybe I just don't know enough information about her yet. But the dynamic is still interesting because I'm curious about like what went wrong. I mean, she said that she left, like, Ahsoka said that she left her in the midst of her training, and I'm like, well, why'd you do that? So I'm curious about that. I wonder what Ahsoka's gonna do now that Sabine is DED dead. Not DEAD, but she DED dead. You know what I'm saying? So
she's incapacitated because he's
yeah.
trying to pick her up.
So we'll see about that. I thought it was cool. Rosario Dawson's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Okay.
So
and they brought Clancy Brown back.
You said what?
Clancy Brown, who plays the Governor Ayers.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was already in The Mandalorian as a Devornian, the red-skinned alien with the horns on his head when they do the jailbreak episode with Bill Burr. That was Clancy Brown too there. And he's been in a million other things too.
He was in Rebels actually. So the Governor. So because I recognize his voice, was he the same character that was in Rebels that worked for like I'm about to say ISBN or whatever they're kind of like
ISB? I'm not sure.
ISB. Because like it was, I was like, wait a second, is that the same guy? So I was like, white hair, same voice. I think the same voice actor.
Yeah, it might have been. I'd have to look at the cast for the animated to see if they're the one and the same, and they just have him reprise the role, but in physical form. That'd be cool. Yeah, I like the show so far. Good action, good plot. It's only a couple. Like I said, you hit the nail on the head, Jocelyn. It's kind of the stereotypical archetype for this angsty, whiny young character that just wants to rebel against everybody, and she seems like the person that would give you like a backhanded comment like, you're cool, but you're not Ezra. Just walk away from you. And I'm like, come on now, why are we getting out this attitude for no reason? I was wondering, when she went to grab the lightsaber, I don't understand why she didn't also put the Beskar armor on then.
Who got time for all that when you get robbed?
It was locked though. She had
to unlock the lightsaber. You don't got that kind of time. We got two droids working you. Bro, she was struggling with those, and I was like,
you ain't gotta get ready when you stay ready. She's a Mandalorian.
But she's washed, so she's not gonna stay ready. And that is ridiculous. She should have been prepared, but she clearly wasn't. She wasn't about that life.
My girl just came back out with the same tired little jumpsuit she had on and the lightsaber, and that's it.
You ain't even changed.
I do have to agree with you, not because I know anything about being a Mandalorian, but I also just feel like, all right, Ahsoka can't be that much of a person to be distrusted, where like her saying, I don't think the map should leave here. All right, and then you just go any old where with the map, and then you're not like protecting the map, like you're not considering why Ahsoka would say that. And just like and she did say it. She's like, there is a war at risk, and your girl is just like, Well,
Don't you
whatever.
know that?
Whatever.
Gosh.
Like, come on.
Well, whatever.
Come
You
on.
know, and so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
and that was fantastic that she was able to read the map and figure it out. But I'm like, as soon as you figure that out, put that joint in your pocket or something. Like,
Well, not only
The
that,
ops are already there though. It was too
what
late.
I mean, what she doesn't know what Ahsoka went through to get it. Like, you didn't go and get this thing that we need opened, but you're gonna just take it out of my hands after I explicitly tell you not to, not knowing that she just balled up about 5 or 6 HK assassin droids on the other planet to get it in the first place, and that's what they're sending after to get
I
you.
mean, even so, like, like, I feel like you don't have to know how she went, like, what she went through to get it. The fact that she said war is at risk, and then she said, I know. Okay, but you're going to this place, and I'm like, what safeguards do you have up to like in acknowledgement of that statement that war is at risk to protect this map?
We got a
Like,
bunch of chicken-feeded cats out here in these
They
corners.
can't do anything. I'm sorry.
and I'm
They
just
can't
like,
do
all right,
anything.
if you're willing to help, if you're willing to do this, like, hello, like, where even are you? There's no gates. All right, there's no force field up. She
No
just
turrets. She had no turrets. She had no droid protecting her. It was nothing.
she
It was
said
very reckless. It was very giving 16 when we all know that Sabine would have to be in her like 20s by now,
she
right?
said I'm built different. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
Just
you're not.
bold.
Clearly,
Very bold.
you're not built different. Look what happened. Look,
Get the brakes beat up off you.
okay.
I almost got the brakes beat up off you by the droids, really.
Seriously, they yoked up real quick. I thought about this. How can you punch a droid?
Yes,
I literally thought about it.
Like, what do you
Normal
think?
human beings shouldn't be fighting metallic robots because we're gonna break our hands.
Unless you got Beskar gauntlets on, which she could have.
Agreed, or you have some type of cybernetic enhancement. That's
Yeah.
the only way you fight in a droid. So that was kind of like she was more or less just pushing it with her fists. So I was like, this doesn't seem like this is gonna go well. Sorry.
She's just out here making mistakes. I don't know what the next episode is, but if it's not any part of acknowledge, like, she won't come back to life, obviously. But when she come back to life, if Ahsoka ain't cussing her ass out for doing all this nonsense and just being like, what even was that? That was terrible.
Yeah.
Back in training.
You sound like Coach. You have to get your benched. You're benched.
What
That's
kind
exactly what I would be doing. I forget the dude that does the YouTube videos that pretends like he's the coach and shows the highlights of people getting work during different games. And they're like, you the most unathletic thing on there. Look at it. That's what I'd be playing, a replay of Sabine getting her ass whooped. Like, look at
Do you
this.
see this? Look at this. We have to play by play.
Right, like, freeze framing it,
Are you like, it looks like you got your lightsaber in the wrong hand here. I don't know what's going on.
It's not even in your strong hand. What are you
Did
doing?
you see how you fell backwards? You see how you flipped over and then the other one caught you, but you didn't catch yourself?
I know you know everything, but I don't know if you know this. Lightsabers is hot. That shit's not
real hot. You felt that in your body? Did you feel that in your body? It was hot, wasn't it? Yeah. Cauterized wounds. You're not gonna bleed. Yeah. You're not gonna bleed. Yeah.
So I'm hoping it picks up. I do like what we got so far, and like I said, I did watch the second episode, but we're not discussing that today, and I did like what we got from that as well. So we'll see what happens. Why are you looking like that, Jordan?
You watched the second episode? You didn't say you watched the second episode. I've been crying all day, everyone, because I want to watch the second episode. But we all know I can't hold water, so I was not watch the episode.
I said we're not discussing the episode.
Yeah, he said he didn't actually say that clearly.
Because
he didn't say. He said
I knew that they were dropping the first two, but they're going to spoon feed. So like I felt like if we discuss both 1 and 2 at the same time, we need to kind of string this along because they're stringing us along.
Oh, I understand. I did what I was supposed to do because we know how I am. So I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. So I just don't want to be spoiling stuff ahead of time.
I understand. I know when I batch watch stuff, I can't decipher when stuff happens and whatever.
Exactly. That was what was gonna happen. I was like, let me not even risk it.
That's why I be taking notes, and I have Sabine Heidi
Really
Duel
terrible.
is where we're going up to, where that ass whooping take place at the communications, wherever the place she's at on
Or the
Loco.
outpost.
That was
Outpost,
terrible.
all by herself with them cats, and got Molly
Chicken
Wild
cats.
nap.
I
And
was
yeah,
so upset.
she was drinking coffee and taking naps and having forced dreams. I don't know what the hell was going on, but
She all dressed up in her red, like she was ready to do something. I was like, girl, what's going on? What's going on?
and she pulled that lightsaber out like she was finna really do something. Well, I've been looking. Thank you. I've been looking for this map. Too bad. She
We
lights
didn't
up.
even get one flippy dip. She couldn't even give us a flippy dip in the fight. That's
This
terrible.
was like Players Club. Did you even pinch? Like you lose it. Man, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to discuss these things with me. Thank you to that one lurker that I see that's catching us live. I just see the one by the eyeball insignia, so I know somebody's watching. All of you guys out there, we know the strikes and stuff are going on, so we are with the writers and the artists that are fighting for their rights. But don't forget the indies out there that also need some shine. We have a couple Kickstarters going on. Joystick Angels 2 and 3, I believe. TJ Sterling is live right now. And Peter Chioza has Cheoma is another Kickstarter that is live right now.
Does Concrete Comics have a Kickstarter live right now?
I feel like there's one on the horizon, or it's happening.
Yeah, there's probably one on the horizon.
Okay.
I just know TJ's and Peter's are both live currently right now. And happy 50th to Sebastian Jones of Niobe. He just turned 50.
Hey, birthday.
So yeah, we'll continue to follow this series as it goes along. We'll be back next week to talk episode 2, and then the third one will drop next week, and we'll have that one discussed the week following. Thank you guys once again for taking time out of your day. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.